Ukraine's president has urged people to save electricity in the face of Russian attacks on power facilities. Ukrainians are experiencing rolling blackouts after a wave of strikes in the last 2 weeks. Volodymyr Zelensky says cruise missiles and Iranian-made drones were used. Kyiv says attacking civilian facilities ahead of winter amounts to terrorism. Let's go straight to Harry Fawcett, who's live for us in Kyiv. Harry, so what is the latest in the situation there, in particular when it comes to Ukraine's energy grid?
Well, the Ukrainians are saying there were more strikes overnight. They're not specifying exactly what the targets were, but they are saying that they themselves shot down some 16 of the Iranian drones, the loitering munitions that are being used by the Russian side in recent days. 14 of them in the southern area around Mykolaiv and another 2 in northern and eastern Ukraine. Now, these are fired in swarms, so the assumption is, I suppose, that some of them will have got through, but as I say, no details as to exactly what was hit. But they are saying that there has been a real shift in strategy towards civilian infrastructure, particularly in terms of energy. The strikes on Saturday, they said, were as widespread as those some 10 days earlier on that Monday, when more than 100 missiles were fired. Most of them, or a large number of them, targeting energy infrastructure. At one point, they said 1.5 million Ukrainians were without power as a result. And so, as you say, the president is talking about the need to conserve energy on a personal basis, on a business basis. We've also heard that the city-wide central heating system, which is a hangover from the communist period, that has been turned on some early in the winter, about 3 days ago, to try to assist people who might otherwise be using electricity to heat their homes. And as well as that, there are plans for mobile heating units in case that system gets targeted. Mobile units on trucks that can plug into a school or an office building or an apartment building, so that those bits of infrastructure can be kept going even if that citywide system is being hit. So major preparations underway for what could be a very difficult winter.
Indeed. And the focus of the fighting in recent days and weeks has been around the Kherson region. What is the latest on that front?
Yes, there is something of a news blackout being imposed by the Ukrainians in that area. We can't get in. There's not very much being said from the Ukrainian side. But what we are hearing from the Russians, of course, is that there is now an immediate call for civilian evacuation from Kherson. We've seen those images of people being taken across the Dnieper River on ferries. There are all sorts of reports of Russian military personnel and hardware being taken out as well, in preparation for what is now expected to be a Ukrainian advance on Kherson. But both sides also accusing each other of preparations to blow up a very significant dam at the Nova Kakhovka hydroelectric power station, which holds back a vast amount of water in a reservoir on the river upstream from Kherson. So the analysis coming from a lot of Western reports, at least, and from the Ukrainians, is that there could be some attempt by the Russians to mine that and blow it up to cover their retreat from Kherson, which could be extremely devastating. The Russians accusing the Ukrainians of planning to launch strikes on that dam as well. And then further north as well, there are reports from the Ministry of Defense. It is noting a plan put in place, it says, by the head of the Wagner private military group, the Russian private military group, saying that there are major defensive lines being put in place in the Luhansk Oblast, in what Russia has now said is annexed territory, well behind the current front lines. So preparations potentially there for a reinforcement behind any further Ukrainian advance into that territory too.
Thank you for that update. Harry Fawcett there for us in Kyiv.